Chapter 81 Increase the number of tasks. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village, Hokage Building. Is this the idea you came up with? Do you know how much less people there are on 8th Street now? The mailbox can barely fit in the villagers' complaint letters. There are several ninjas who have shops there, and they all came to me to report it, that the third generation knocked on the table, very dissatisfied with Danzo. Danzo's eyes were full of impatience. Uchiha has already planned this. I don't know how they will react. Sandai took a drag on his cigarette. It's just a bad move for you to leave your roots in the police force, and it's useless now. Go to the village hall and ask around. How bad your reputation is. Everyone will take a detour when they see you. How can you become a police force? Danzo's face was also a bit ugly. When he was cultivating his roots in the past, what he cultivated the most was loyalty to him and how to kill people. Now if they are asked to learn how to be a police force, it can only be said that people without emotional intelligence are not the material at all. Danzo hummed, I will think of other ways. Remove your people from the guard first. The third Hokage said calmly. Impossible. Danzo suddenly became excited. He finally managed to insert his roots into the security team. Although his roots were not done well, he had a position and would have other options in the future. The third generation's voice also became colder. The great elder of the Hyuga clan has come to my place twice and asked me to redeem my position as an honorary elder. Tell me, is this not what you promised? Danzo snorted coldly. He wants the position of honorary elder before he even gets the things. The third generation directly picked up a pile of complaint sheets next to him and threw them in front of Danzo. Then you handle it. Danzo's brows twitched and he fell silent. Seeing that Danzo was silent, the Sandaime softened his tone. The root base used to be there, but it's still sealed now, and it's still there. You take the roots away, and I will give the vacant position to Elder Hinata, so that I can give you an explanation. Danzo thought for a moment, and thought that the root is really not the material for the garrison, and it is okay to be able to base the root. Then give me the letter of appointment as an honorary elder and leave your name blank. Sandai also agreed without hesitation. The daimyo's orders must be fulfilled, so this position must be given to Danzo for operation. After countless complaints, the base security team members who were hated by everyone were removed. When the villagers learned that all the security teams had been abolished, they all rejoiced and swarmed to Konoha 8th Street. Sure enough, all the Uchiha stores opened as promised. Countless delicacies made everyone rush into the store like crazy. The Uchiha bosses all said that it couldn't be done at all. Hokage Building, the third generation smoked a cigarette very boredly. Now the Uchiha clan is really in a state of poverty, neither the soft one nor the hard one will do, but he couldn't come forward himself. Danzo was so disgraced again that he stopped moving for the time being. Nowadays, Uchiha's attitude of non-violence and non-cooperation makes the third generation very difficult. He asked someone to call Zhuangzi Xiaochun over. Unexpectedly, Zhuangzi Xiaochun came over after a long time and actually had a cup of pearl milk tea in his hand. Of course, this was also made by the Uchiha clan. This drink is very popular. The soft and waxy pearls and sweet milk tea once became the most popular drinks in Uchiha. Unexpectedly, Xiaochun actually likes to drink this kind of young people's food. Elder Koharu, how is the amount of tasks Uchiha is accepting now? The third Hokage had no choice but to make decisions based on the tasks Uchiha was accepting. Ninjas also need to eat, and the probability of an elite appearing in the Uchiha clan is undoubtedly greater than that of civilians from other small clans. Therefore, the Uchiha clan's strongest asset in the past was the commissions earned from completing various tasks. Xiaochun went to bed and took a sip of milk tea. With her old face, the scene was extremely weird. I have brought over the statistics of Uchiha's recent missions. The third Hokage nodded in approval. He was indeed a teammate. The third Hokage summoned Koharu to come over, and she knew what was going on, also specially prepared everything. The third Hokage picked up the mission statistics and took a look. He frowned slightly, although Uchiha had left more than 100 elites now, but there should be more than 100 left. However, the current monthly task completion volume is less than 30% of the previous level. Don't Uchiha take on tasks to support the family now? Sandai asked doubtfully. Koharu, who went to bed, obviously knew more. Many people in Uchiha are giving birth at home now, so naturally there are fewer people to take on tasks. The third generation was a little puzzled. If you want to have children, shouldn't you work harder? After turning to bed, Koharu shook his head. Hirozen, you don't know something. Before Xiaomu left, he announced a reward to encourage childbirth. Every time a child is born, a large amount of money will be awarded. So, many ninjas stopped taking missions and focused on having children at home. Even if they did take missions, they were relatively simple missions. The third Hokage looked at the mission acceptance details and saw that there were about 50 Uchihas still accepting missions. On average, 50 people complete 7 C-level tasks every month, and most of the others are D-level tasks. D-level tasks are basically trivial matters, such as finding pets to pick up trash. A large amount of money. How much? Xiaochun said she didn't know either. The third Hokage is now pacing back and forth in the room. Since Uchiha has acted like this, it means that Uchiha has really made money in catering. The Uchiha's pace must be curbed. In this way, change the rules of our mission reception center. The third Hokage thought of an idea. Jounin, you must complete at least 1 B-level mission or 3 C-level missions every month. Special Jounin, 2 C-level missions, or 5 D-level missions per month. Chunin, at least 1 C-level mission, or 3 D-level missions. He didn't specify genin because there was a big gap between genin and genin. After listening to it, Koharu couldn't help but praise the third Hokage's approach. This rule was nothing to other ninjas, and they would definitely exceed the limit every month, but here in Uchiha, the requirements have been raised in disguise. There are very few Uchiha genin who are still doing missions. Most of them are following the business, those with poor talent, those who have been genin for many years but have not improved. There are also many families who have just given birth to a baby and are taking the baby there. Nowadays, most of Uchiha's missions are chunin. And a small number of special jounin. This is also the backbone of Uchiha. If all these Uchiha are sent out on missions, there will be even less gatherings in the Uchiha clan. As long as they don't gather together, a group of chunin isn't much of a threat. What if they are passive and don't finish it? Xiaochun asked when he went to bed. The third Hokage said calmly, then lower their division levels and transfer them from within the village to outside the village. There is a split for accepting tasks in Ninja Village. When the client comes to Ninja Village to release a task, 20% of the money needs to be distributed to the village, and the person who completes the task only gets 80%. It seems like a lot, but what is the most important thing in this world is intelligence. If you want to complete a mission, you also need to pay part of the intelligence fee in advance. The more detailed the information, the more expensive it is, and because of the leafy branches of Konoha village, there are spies in all parts of the ninja world. The Leaf village raised them, and they provided clues to the village, of course. You can also sell leads directly, provided that the leads are valuable. Therefore, when the ninja of this village takes on a mission, he can probably get half of the mission bonus in the end, which is considered very good. Ninjas from other villages, or wandering ninjas, have more money to be divided. In the end, they may only get 30% to 20%. Under such circumstances, many ninjas still choose to come to the great ninja village to take on tasks, spend money to buy information, because you can't even find anyone outside without information, let alone complete the mission. After the punishment system of the third generation, if Uchiha still does not complete the task properly and the share is adjusted to that outside the village, the income will drop off a cliff, although there are subsidies. For having children, you can't keep having children. In the end, Uchiha still has to take on tasks to make ends meet. This move of Sandai is not without poison. If the Uchiha accepts it, then there will be more people doing the tasks, and the Uchiha clan will naturally be more stable. If Uchiha doesn't accept it, Fugaku will definitely come to talk to him, so that the third Hokage can make a fuss about the catering controlled by Uchiha. Chapter 82 Each Approach. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My village, root base, Danzo was back again, and even many of the equipment were sent back intact. Uchiha's increasing dissociation from Konoha village and Uchiha's catering business is like printing money. All 3 generations were deeply warned. Everywhere is concerned about profit, and the current Uchiha's various benefits should be the most among all the ninja villages. Uchiha has just attracted an explosive baby boom. When these babies grow up, Uchiha will usher in its most powerful period. There are people, money, Natsuki and Fugaku are still two kaleidoscopes. Itachi and Shirosue who left the village were also very big threats. Now, isn't it just because of those interests that major families support the third Hokage? If Uchiha can bring more benefits, it goes without saying that the candidate for the next Hokage must be Uchiha. Although Danzo no longer has the name of Northeast by East, it doesn't matter. Northeast by East recognizes him as this person. During this period of time, Danzo summoned back many of his old subordinates. The third generation felt that as long as there was no appropriation and the income of Danzo was limited, there would be no big waves at the root, but he didn't know that Danzo already had other sources of funds. The third generation promised Danzo that as long as he could give him more than half of the formulas in the Uchiha shop, funds related to restoring Danzo's roots. Danzo promised with all his heart, if I get half of the formula, will I still need you? After Sandai drew a cake for Danzo, he waited to enjoy the cake. As for whether Danzo will embezzle it for himself, he naturally has his own methods. Hyuga Kaito, the fourth elder of the clan, Danzo's contemporaries, when he was young, he was a genius. He traveled across the battlefield and led the Hyuga clan to achieve many extraordinary feats. He was an upright, cheerful, and enterprising person. But it was a pity that Tian was jealous of Inkai. During a mission, while trying to save his companions, his left leg was severely injured. Everything from the bones to muscles and even nerves were necrotic. The Hyuga family saved his legs with all their strength, but from then on, let alone returning to the fighting sequence, they could not even stand up. He only saved this leg, but it had no feeling and was completely disabled. In the end, he could only sit in a wheelchair, and a generation of genius died. As the saying goes, the higher you stand, the harder you fall. After Hyuga Kaito became a useless person, the clan began to talk about him slowly. People are always jealous. When Kaito Hyuga was still a genius, no one dared to gossip, but when Kaito became a useless person, all kinds of unsavory rumors began to flow out. Hyuga Kaito was angry, sad, and desperate, but he finally cheered up and took the position of the fourth elder based on his merits back then. Most of the elders of the clan did not care about the life and death of the children of the branch family. Hyuga Kaito is different. When he guides young people, he never looks at the clan or the branch families. Over the years, he has a very wide network of contacts. He also often makes plans for the family in order to make the Hinata family stronger. On this day, Hinata Kaito stood in the yard again, moving forward with difficulty. He once thought that if he continued to rehabilitate, a miracle would happen and his leg would recover. Unfortunately, the reality is cruel. He has been exercising from youth to middle age, and now he is almost entering old age. The daily exercise has not made his body better. The left leg still had no feeling, and the right leg had been injured many times due to such forced exercise. Maybe it will be like this for the rest of my life, Kaito thought, a little frustrated. Heidu. A strange voice sounded. Hyuga Kaito turned around and saw that it was Shimura Danzo. Hyuga Kaito has not seen Danzo for almost 10 years. Although they are in the same period, they have no friendship. I wonder why Danzo came to him. Kaito frowned and sat on the ground against the wall pillar. He did not ask why Danzo suddenly appeared. His courtyard was not in the Zong family compound, and there were not many guards outside to stop Danzo. Danzo, why are you here? But at this time, Kaito discovered that Danzo's right hand was not bandaged. Your arm? Danzo's arm had been in a bandage for many years, and he said it was injured, but as the elder of the Hyuga clan, Kaito received different rumors. Not only did Danzo wrap his arm tightly, there was also a seal on it. Needless to say, Danzo's arm must have a big secret. Over the years, everyone has become accustomed to Danzo's appearance. Unexpectedly, there is no seal now. Moreover, Danzo also exposed his arm. After recovery, it will naturally be revealed. Danzo waved his arms twice, and his strong and powerful body made the wind sound. Kaito's expression changed, and he stared at Danzo's arm with a complicated expression. Danzo smiled slightly proudly. This is something we have researched from the root. It can strengthen the body. Even if the nerve is broken, there will be no problem. Kaito held on to the pillar and moved not far away, where there was a wheelchair. Danzo didn't help him, so Kaito walked and walked, and it took a few minutes before he sat down heavily in the wheelchair. What's your purpose? Kaito breathed slowly, and Danzo came over to show off his arms. Of course he had a purpose, otherwise why are you here, to give him warmth? Danzo swings his arms casually and spits out lightly, guard team. Hyuga Kaito waved his hand, your reputation is ruined to the core. Stop trying to join the police force. Hyuga Kaito paused, besides, the security force is always in Hisashi's hands. If it hadn't been for the intervention of the Great Elder, you would have been unable to change defenses. Danzo waved his hand somewhat casually. I don't want Genbu to join the guard force again, but I want the guard force to do me a favor. Wrap your left leg around me. I guarantee it will be even more flexible than before. Hinata Kaito asked warily, what to do, although he hopes that his leg will get better, he will never trade it for the interests of the clan. A piece of cake. Danzo said easily, as long as you instruct your Hinata security team to roll your eyes more often when patrolling, and help me learn about Uchiha's various secret recipes. Hinata Kaito's face darkened slightly. The Uchiha clan now regards those restaurants and shops as fortune trees. Now you want me to steal the secret recipe for you, that the rise of Chinese cuisine relies on its different production methods and unique secret recipes. Since no one has tried it before, I was curious and wanted to try it. After eating it, I found that the taste is difficult to replicate outside, so more and more people eat it, but unless you have a shop with the same sign, you have never heard of the recipes of those dishes, let alone eating from other shops. We, the Hyuga clan, have good relations with the Uchiha clan, and we will not betray our friends for some petty profit. Kaito rejected Danzo. After all, he wanted his family to be stronger, not his own recovery. Danzo narrowed his eyes, penny-wise and pound-foolish profit. Kaito, do you know how much money their shop can make every year? At least this amount. Danzo held out 2 fingers. Kaito said nonchalantly, it's only 2 million. Their business is so good, isn't that what it should be? Danzo shook his head, wrong, it's 20 million. What? Kaito was greatly shocked. You must know that an S-level mission is only a million-level mission. Moreover, there is a high chance that people will die in S-level missions, but Uchiha only needs to open the store and cook food every day, and he can actually make 20 million in profits a year. This is simply unbelievable. Even if you are a shadow-level player, you will always have professional intelligence from the village, then you won't be able to do a few S-level missions in a year, and even some S-level missions will take a year or 2 to complete. Is it really that profitable? Kaito still didn't believe it. Danzo was prepared and handed the investigation report to Kaito. Chapter 83. Everyone has their own agenda. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kaito slowly read the report, reading every item very carefully. Danzo said, your Hyuga family just has a good relationship with Uchiha now. Uchiha is already working hard to develop. Their clan encourages procreation. Now a batch of babies have been born. In another 10 years, Uchiha will become the largest clan in the entire ninja world. With their financial strength, the whole of Konoha will have to look at his face. The position of Hokage will be within easy reach for them. Kaito's expression changed slightly, because Danzo's report also included more Chinese food shops in Tian country. Although Tainokuni Elementary School is small, there are so many shops. Although these shops are not run by Uchiha, they must have something to do with Uchiha. As we all know, Itachi and Shisui should be in Otogakure village, but they did not appear in public. The 3rd generation was frightened by the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, and did not label the 2 and other Uchihas as traitorous ninjas. The 3rd Hokage negotiated with Uchiha and wanted to support Uchiha's shop, but Uchiha refused. He has always held the method of making Chinese food in his hands and ate alone. If we don't think of a solution, maybe in 10 or 20 years, the Hyuga family will become a vassal. If you, the Hyuga clan, get the secret recipe, you can make it together with the village and make this cake bigger together. With the relationship between the 3rd generation and the daimyo, it might not be a bad idea to promote this business to the entire Fire Country. Danzo spared no effort to bewitch. Kaito is very sober. It is normal for every ninja clan to have their own secrets. If the secret can generate profits, then it should be protected. If you, Sarutobi Hiruzen, want the white wolf with nothing, it is normal for others not to agree. However, Danzo's words also made him listen a lot. He just read all the reports. The above are some food unit price statistics, people flow statistics, and the final calculated value. These values are relatively conservative, which means that Uchiha's profits may be much greater than the amount of 20 million per year. Kaito is also very jealous. He knows that now that the Third Ninja War has passed, all countries are working hard to develop their economies. Now for the development of the country and the development of the family, every family is working hard to make money, but the Hyuga clan has some embarrassments. The advantage of the Hyuga clan is its investigative ability, which is one of the best in the entire ninja world. If it were wartime, Konoha would give Hinata a high subsidy to act as a scout, but in non-wartime, on various tasks, having a member of the Hyuga clan can make the task much less difficult. Therefore, Hinata is a sought-after item in the mission hall. As long as he goes there, others will beg him to form a team. Therefore, the Hyuga clan is not short of money, and it has always been this way. However, the Hyuga clan was somewhat weak, with no leading figures emerging, and coupled with a comfortable life, they gradually lost their ambition. Everything is done separately, because the branch family will only obey the orders of the clan. No matter how many military exploits the branch family obtains, their power in the Konoha village will still be very small. The elders who have always wanted to strengthen the Hyuga clan always hope to gain greater power, so when Uchiha gave up the security team before, the elders and Hizu were ecstatic. Just because he managed the police force well, Hinata could be considered to have real power in Konoha. In the future, Hinata may have a chance to compete for Hokage. However, after the war, the number of people in the separated family was not too large. The various arrangements made by the security team resulted in the separation of almost everyone inside. When the Hinata family got the rights to the police force, they cried out that they had been deceived. It turned out that the police force was not that easy to do. He often offends people without mentioning it, and drags their personnel with it. The family that usually has a good relationship with the Hyuga family can borrow people from the Hyuga clan to help complete difficult tasks in the past. Nowadays, the Hyuga clan is short of personnel and has been unable to borrow people for many times in a row. The relationship between many families and Hyuga is not as enthusiastic as before. There is no other way. The Hyuga clan can only grit their teeth and resist in order to gain power. After all, the garrison cannot be thrown away casually, and the garrison captain still has great rights. The result of the Hyuga clan's previous deliberations was to fight hard for the past few years. When the new generation of the Hyuga clan can take over, this problem will be perfectly solved. At that time, they felt that Uchiha had automatically given up his rights and left so many people. Although a strong Mangekyo Sharingan appeared in Uchiha, the Uchiha had few people and no power. It can only survive without declining, and the rise of the Hyuga clan is just around the corner. Unexpectedly, the geek Uchiha Natsuki appeared, and he found so many weird recipes from nowhere, almost like a whirlwind. It directly occupied the catering market of Konoha village and Tiano country. Moreover, there were so many types of recipes and cuisines that the Hyuga clan even wondered if the Uchiha clan had dug up ancient relics, but there is no historical record of food named China. Previously, Hyuga Kaito thought that although these stores made a lot of money, their annual profits might be only a few million, but he didn't expect it to be tens of millions. It doesn't matter if there are few people in the Uchiha clan doing tasks, because they have money. In a few years, Uchiha's accumulation will be enough for Uchiha to rule the entire Konoha, and for this catering business, if it can be extended to the whole country of fire, the benefits will be unimaginable, and the takeoff is just around the corner. Seeing Kaito deep in thought, Danzo took out his trump card. Seeing Danzo handing out a scroll, Hinata Kaito glanced at it and couldn't move it away anymore. Honorary Elder Appointment Certificate. If the Hyuga clan could add an honorary elder. Danzo is a smart man. He knew only too well how deep the love for his family was in Hyuga Kaito's heart. Hyuga Kaito simply cannot refuse the position of honorary elder. Kaito took a deep breath and asked, "How are you going to treat my leg? How long will it take?" Danzo showed a satisfied smile. You can also find other elders of the Hyuga clan for this method, but Kaito himself has supported many children of branch families, so it is convenient for him to do this, and there are demands over there. For my experiment, I have to sacrifice you, Kaito. This is confidential and I can't tell you, but my skills will allow you to stand up within a month. Danzo said confidently. Oh. Kaito was a little curious, but Danzo refused to say anything, and there was nothing he could do. Kaito thought for a moment. I have a few people in the security team. I can ask them to keep an eye on them recently. But the appointment letter of honorary elder needs to be given to me first, and I also need treatment. Danzo was a little unhappy. Classmate, don't you still believe me? What about classmates? Uchiha Mirror saved you so many times back then, but you still turned around and dug out Shirsue's eyes. If you didn't rely on me to get the secret recipe, would you talk to me about this? If you want to be a white wolf with nothing, there is no way. Kaito didn't speak, just looked at Danzo intently. Danzo saw that Kaito was not that easy to fool, and there was nothing he could do about it. If one could steal these secrets without anyone noticing, only the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan could do it. Besides, the daimyo has already sent someone to inquire about the progress. Alright. Danzo threw the commission to Hyuga Kaito. Kaito looked at it several times, and his face turned rosy. What about my legs? Danzo was a little annoyed. I'll make arrangements with you when I get back. Send a copy of your previous cases to Genbu. I'll make some preparations when I go back, and then I'll notify you to come over. Okay, I'll send someone to the route right away. Kaito narrowed his eyes slightly, but what he was thinking in his heart was that the third generation had also intervened. The deal was concluded, and Danzo left quickly without stopping. As far as the end of Byakugan's sight, Danzo could not be seen. The smile on Kaito's face faded instantly. He looked at the commission in his hand and then at his legs. An unknown light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 84 Obito's Blockade. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Dream space. Bai's body was covered with runes and spells, and he was trapped in place, unable to move. Shimu didn't know beforehand that Bai's loyalty would be full so quickly. When opening the Force template, Shimu was a little surprised to find that Bai could already simulate dreams, but since Bai trusted him, he just happened to go into the space to practice ninjutsu. The strength of the characters in the dream space is linked to reality, so Bai is a standard rookie. He knew the ninjutsu of the blood succession limit, but he only had a few back and forth strokes, so he was easily controlled by Natsuki, and Xiaomu started practicing in this space. The first is water escape. As long as you can use water escape, Natsuki doesn't need to bring so much drinking water during his journey. Of course, there are several people in the team who are good at water escape, but for the future, Natsuki still needs to learn both. A person's energy is limited, and Xiaomu still knows that he can bite off more than he can chew. Learning water escape is just to enrich his combat system. He didn't want to change his fighting style, so he took a look at the Uchihas ninjutsu collection. It's embarrassing. There are too few Uchiha people with water attributes. Most of the other escape techniques in Uchiha are included, but there are only a few water escape techniques. Natsuki scratched his head in embarrassment. Why not let Kisame teach him? Immediately in Xiaomu's mind, he clapped his hands together and shouted, "Big blast of water." Natsuki shivered. The style of painting is too weird, but I'm not in a hurry anyway, so I'll forget about it. There are only a few types of ninjutsu that everyone is good at. The main reason is that practicing ninjutsu is not that easy. In addition to the seals, there are also very strict requirements for the path of chakra. In the ninja world, it doesn't matter if you have a single attribute. As long as your affinity is high, your ninjutsu will be more powerful. If you have many attributes but insufficient attribute affinities, then the ninjutsu you use will not be lethal enough. The affinity of each attribute is relatively high, and you need to have enough energy and talent, as well as enough ninjutsu to learn. In addition to being in school, civilians have to spend a lot of money and merit to get their favorite ninjutsu. Among the current multi-attribute powerhouses, Natsuki saw one such as the third Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. Natsuki has never used Thunder Release, but his affinity with Thunder Release is really not high. It would be better to stab him with a knife than to imitate Chidori. After all, he has the gift of combat intuition, and his physical skills are not bad either. Xiaomu killed Bai with one blow and exited the dream space. He was now sitting cross-legged on the deck. After finding all the people, Xiaomu had no intention of staying in the Kingdom of Water. After all, he was not actually welcome in this place. Natsuki was not interested in knowing how Mei Terumi swept through all the forces and secured the position of the 5th Mizukage. Judging from the fact that he did not receive a reward, Terumi may will definitely still secure his position as the 5th generation Mizukage, while the 4th generation Mizukage will commit suicide like the ending of the previous life. He just wanted to send Kimimara's child to Orochimaru as soon as possible. He knew that the earlier Kimimara's disease was intervened, the greater the possibility of cure. Once Kimimaro starts to develop, the disease will become very troublesome. After Natsuki took Kimimaro under his wing, he also strictly prohibited Kimimaro from using corpse bone veins anymore, not even allowing him to extract bones and use them as daggers. Natsuki tells Kimimaro that the blood inheritance limit of the corpse bone vein is defective, and if it is overused, it will cause illness. Kimimaro didn't understand either, but except for him and Shiro, everyone else in the team was very skilled, and Natsuki was a strong Mangekyo Sharingan. It was not Kimimaro's turn to take action, so Kimimaro obeyed. It was easy for Natsuki to come here. She used Sasuke's space teleportation. It was very fast, and she arrived in a flash. As a result, it would be difficult to go back, because Obito was messing around and large merchant ships basically did not approach the Kingdom of Water. Natsuki was originally planning to take a boat directly to the country of Yu, and then to the Sound Ninja village. Unexpectedly, there were no long-distance ships, only ships to the country of Whirlpool. Now the country of Whirlpool is just a place name, and the country back then has been destroyed. There is a piece of land there that is very close to the Kingdom of Water. It is the largest port between the Kingdom of Fire and the Kingdom of Water. In the Kingdom of Water, Natsuki has always been wary of Obito's sneak attack. After all, Obito's mind is smaller than his asshole. The layout of the Kingdom of Water was destroyed in advance by Natsuki, and Obito must have a grudge, but I don't know if Obito was scared after being beaten last time, or because he couldn't find any trace of him, so he never took action in the Kingdom of Water. Now that Natsuki and the others have boarded the ship, the best place for Obito to take action must be on the ship. In order to prevent accidents, Xiaomu directly used his money ability when selecting ships. With a wave of his hand, he directly chartered a boat and cleared the deck. With most of the shipping staff below, there was nothing on the deck except the huge sail. He knew that with Obito's small-mindedness, he would definitely come to find him. So Natsuki has been waiting on the deck. Natsuki's prediction was good. Obito was coming, but his scout Zetsu was not in the Kingdom of Water. Natsuki was looking for someone everywhere, but his whereabouts were uncertain, and Obito couldn't find any trace of him for a while, so he has been waiting for Natsuki near the port, and what he wants is to deal with Natsuki once and for all. For Obito, Natsuki's appearance hindered his plan. As long as Natsuki is still alive, the Uchiha clan may rise. Natsuki's Mangekyo Sharingan is the only one who can destroy his divine power from the front. People who threaten him must be killed. Of course, it would be better to get Natsuki's kaleidoscope. There was a fluctuation in the space, and a figure slowly appeared in the air as if out of thin air. You seem to know that I'm not dead. Obito folded his hands and landed on the deck. Hee, a maggot like you must have a long life. I just ruined your plan. Of course you will come to me. Xiaomu yawned. Why are you here? I've been waiting for you for a long time. Obito was a little annoyed when he saw Natsuki's dismissive attitude, but he didn't speak yet. What? Aren't you pretending to be Uchiha Madara today? Natsuki's face was sarcastic, with a sarcastic smile on his lips. Obito's exposed eyes narrowed slightly. You seem to have known a long time ago that I am not. Natsuki waved his hand. You can only deceive people who are not from the Uchiha clan. We Uchiha have always recorded that Uchiha Madara's Sharingan Eye technique is not a time and space ninjutsu. Based on this? Obito asked in surprise. Isn't this enough? Xiaomu was also speechless. Such a big loophole. The Sharingan's pupil technique cannot be changed at any time. If you can use time and space ninjutsu, you are definitely not Uchiha Madara. So you are full of flaws and can only scare outsiders. Obito fell silent. He had been communicating with Nagato and the others in the Akatsuki organization in the name of Madara. Nagato and Konan were afraid of him because of his time and space ninjutsu ability and powerful eye power, and they both thought he was Madara. Unexpectedly, Xiaomu saw through it at a glance. Does the clan still have records of Madara's Mangekyo? Didn't Madara take it away? Still missing something. Obito opened his arms. I know you don't like Konoha village and advocate Uchiha leaving Konoha, so why don't you choose to cooperate with me? I ruined your plan in the Kingdom of Water, and you still ask me to cooperate? Xia Mu said calmly. Obito said indifferently, the Kingdom of Water has reached its final stage. I have almost got everything I want. It doesn't matter if it's a little early. You, the instigator of the Nine-Tails Rebellion, how can you have the dignity to cooperate with me? Natsuki wanted to see how Obito was going to convince him. Chapter 85 The Power of Amaterasu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I just want to take revenge on Konoha. I have no ill intentions towards Uchiha. After all, I am also a member of Uchiha. Obito seemed to be standing on the deck and walking slowly casually, not caring that his back was turned to Natsuki. So funny, Natsuki's face was expressionless. Believe me, if I hadn't kidnapped Shisui and Itachi first, the Uchiha would have been wiped out by you. Chinese delicacies, are all your work, right? Obito asked. So what if it is, so what if it's not? Xia Mu was noncommittal. I have a deal you might as well listen to. Obito didn't care about Natsuki's indifference, he just walked casually on the deck and walked toward Natsuki without any defense, but Natsuki clearly felt that Obito didn't look into his eyes. Is Obito's awareness of guarding so high this time, not only guarding against his Susanna, but also guarding against his own genjutsu? Obito's Kamui is a passive skill that will be activated whenever he is attacked, so a sneak attack makes no sense, but as we all know, if the Sharingan is consumed too much, it will exit the Mangekyo Sharingan and turn into a 3-Magatama. Until the Sharingan closes, Obito transplanted Hashirama's cells, which resulted in less consumption and faster recovery. However, powerful illusions can consume Obito's mental power instantly, and Obito will immediately fall out of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Divine power is no longer effective. Of course, Obito is also a genius. After all, he jumped directly from Nimigatama to Mangekyo. Ordinary illusions have no effect, only advanced illusions are effective, and kaleidoscope illusions are more effective. Obito never looked at Natsuki, even because he was worried about Natsuki's high level of genjutsu. In fact, Obito was overly worried. Natsuki was best at genjutsu, even though Natsuki had dreams to practice. But illusion still depends on talent. If it doesn't work, it just doesn't work. There was no way he could drain Obito's mental energy instantly like Itachi. If he didn't use the Ammon Kanjian style, he wouldn't be able to pose a threat to Obito, so Obito's carefulness was just to show the blind man his attention, and it was all in vain. All your relatives died in the war. I have a technique here. After certain conditions are met, your relatives can be resurrected. You just need to use it. What the hell are you telling me about reincarnation in filthy soil? Obito had already walked to Natsuki's side. In an instant, Obito suddenly stretched out his hand to grab Natsuki. Did you originally want to capture me alive into the divine space? Natsuki jumped to the side, and threw several shurikens as he jumped. Obito rushed forward, and the shuriken penetrated his body without any accident. Natsuki looked at Obito coldly. Obito's movements were very fast, his feet lightly tapping on the ground. His hand touched Natsuki's body. In an instant, a vortex appeared out of thin air, and a feeling of numbness came. Natsuki directly activated Susanna. And at the same time as Susanna formed, he directly bounced Obito away. Obito easily rolled over and landed in the air. I'm curious, how much eyesight do you still have? Obito seemed to have a plan in mind. Natsuki didn't seem to hear Obito's words, but Obito clearly felt that Natsuki's heart was shaking. He experimented twice, and even when they looked at each other inadvertently, Xia Mu did not cast illusions on him, which meant that Xia Mu was not specialized in illusions. People who specialize in illusions will use every opportunity to launch illusions to carry out illusion attacks. And he knew the shortcomings of the Mangekyo Sharingan. Using all your strength to activate Susanoo consumes a lot of power and chakra. Natsuki couldn't keep Susanoo on all the time. As everyone knows, Natsuki is already the Eternal Kaleidoscope, and he also drew the Uzumaki clan's Cha-Tun on Naruto. Now that Susan has just activated his skeleton form, he can last for a long time. It's just that he doesn't have the means to continue attacking for 5 minutes, nor does he have the bonus of illusion. As long as Obito remains hollow, Obito will be invincible. If he were to perform the Susanoo condensation Amanzongun style, that Time would definitely be enough for Obito to escape. Well, at least that's what Obito thinks. Natsuki knew from the look on Obito's face that Obito was preparing to continue hiding his clumsiness, and Mudun could no longer see it. He also wanted to try the so-called cutting technique to see if he could pierce Susan's outer shell. After all, this thing killed Niji directly, and Niji couldn't even recover. Xiaomu frowned, groaned in pain, and covered his eyes. Susanna dissipated instantly. Obito snorted in his heart. The last move indeed consumed a lot of energy. Obito stepped forward and grabbed Natsuki with his hands. He was very confident, because if Natsuki was pretending, the time it would take for Natsuki to unfold Susanna again would be enough for him to leave here. Obito's hand quickly touched Natsuki's body. A vortex opened out of thin air. But Xiaomu didn't make any move. A feeling of paralysis quickly spread to Xiaomu, but Xiaomu was prepared. The body cannot move, but the eyes can. Natsuki's eyes drowsied slightly, then opened them suddenly. Amaterasu, that evil and ominous black flames appeared out of thin air on Obito. Ah. Obito let out a miserable howl, extremely shocked. Why? Shouldn't his pupil technique be used to reduce Susanno's consumption? As the flames burned, Obito endured the severe pain and hid directly in the Kamui space. Unexpectedly, after arriving in the divine power space, the black flames still did not go out and continued to burn his body. Obito was rolling around desperately, but Amaterasu had no intention of extinguishing it. Obito endured the severe pain all over his body, and his left eye Sharingan glowed. Ah! The violent screams echoed throughout the divine space. Obito screamed and was turned to ashes by the black flames. Between the intersection of reality and reality, Obito appeared in the Kamui space with a cold sweat. It hurts. It hurts. The feeling of being burned alive was worse than death. How come? Natsuki's other pupil technique is not to reduce the consumption of Susanoo. How can his Susanoo last for so long? That black flame, is it, Amaterasu? Hateful. It's actually Amaterasu. Obito recalled the secret book left by Madara, which was introduced in it, and Amaterasu was recorded in Uchiha's Kaleidoscope secret technique. Amaterasu produces black flames at the focus of his sight, which means that Natsuki can attack him the moment he materializes. The key is that Xiaomu seems to know my eye skills very well, and his shots are so accurate. What went wrong? Obito is really scared now. Natsuki's two-eye skills are so restraining on me. There are several ways to extinguish Amaterasu, but they are all things that Obito does not possess. Amaterasu can remove her armor or form a layer of chakra on the outside to deal with it, but he only has a single-eyed kaleidoscope and cannot activate Susanoo. Obito covered his left eye that had lost its brightness. Not knowing what he was thinking, I watched the Amaterasu X1 in my interface change to 0, and then gradually disappear. Xiaomu also sighed. Itachi is really Obito's nemesis, whether it's Tsukiyomi or Amaterasu. As long as he finds an opportunity, he can release it instantly. If you understand the mechanism of Obito's Kamui, you will be extremely restrained against Obito. No wonder Obito had to wait for Itachi to die before wandering around, just like Guan Yu after Lubu died, looking for anyone to be the first to betray him. Obito probably thought this time that my pupil technique was Amaterasu. In these two battles, Obito was beaten to death by Natsuki. I guess you won't dare to trouble me easily next time. However, it was a bit of a pity that Obito did not use the wood release. Xiaomu thought like this and quickly returned to the cabin. Several people in the cabin were still prepared. After all, if there was a fight on the sea, it would be really troublesome for the boat to capsize, but as expected, there was no fight, and the fight didn't even last long. When several people saw Xiaomu coming down alone, they all breathed a sigh of relief, especially Kisame Uchiha. Last time, Natsuki Uchiha and the masked man fought hard, but this time they actually won quietly. Boss, did that person escape? That the one who spoke was Kisame Kisaki, and Natsuki really thought that Kisame was here to work, so he simply asked him and Kyoko Kurita to call him boss. Natsuki nodded. He has space ninjutsu, it's not easy to kill him. Shiro and Kimimaro had no idea about the time and space ninjutsu, but Kisame Inakasaki and Kyoko Kurita knew how rare this technique was. They couldn't help but look at their boss even more highly. Chapter 86 Time Sealing Array. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha Village, Uchiha Clan. Lord Clan Leader, we have trained 4 groups of barrier personnel who can cover the entire clan area around the clock. Chiming is reporting to Fugaku. Fugaku nodded after listening to Chiming's report. Over the past few years, with their excellent use of barrier techniques, he and Iori Daichi have steadily improved in strength, especially Chiming. After the Sharingan evolved to the 3 Magatama, his strength made great strides forward. The key is that Chiming loves his family very much and does his best in everything he does. Now Fugaku also relies heavily on him. How is the imaginary enemy plan going? Hui Clan Chief, relevant preparations for imaginary enemy number 1 and imaginary enemy number 2 have been completed. In terms of reconnaissance of imaginary enemy number 3, we have deployed a large number of ninja cats and ninja crows in the forests surrounding the clan. Although there will be additional feeding costs every day, it can be guaranteed that the clan area is covered by cross-detection. Fugaku waved his hand indifferently. Don't worry about the feeding costs, we Uchiha are not short of money. Iji, your responsibilities are also very important. Besides you, we also need a backup candidate. Iji nodded, yes, I will choose a backup candidate right now. Dottie, when the time comes, you need to assemble the people, and you need to have a plan if you are not here. The Earth's deep voice should be. In terms of personnel training, as soon as a signal is discovered, they must return to the relevant location. Our Uchiha's current development has not come easily, you must work hard. Fugaku's words were serious and thoughtful. Chiming nodded heavily, don't worry, clan leader, if anyone dares to destroy the stability of Uchiha, they must step over my body. Iji and Daichi also echoed, we are the same. After Fugaku arranged for Chiming and the others, the 4th elder Yangping came in a hurry. How is it? Fugaku asked anxiously. On elder Yangping's side, the security of the clan is the most important aspect. The gentleman has already agreed, but the journey is too far and he can't come here himself. She sealed the magic circle into the magic weapon, and we just activate the magic circle. I'm preparing relevant materials now. I left Yang Shu, Aura, and Rikuren over there. It will probably arrive in the evening. Fugaku exhaled, it would be okay to have a magic circle. That's good. I will handle the follow-up matters. Thank you for your hard work, Elder Yangping. I cannot escape from the plan without your support. Go down and have a good rest first. Elder Yangping had a long journey, and after discussing with Fugaku for a few words, he went down. Fugaku stood alone in the open space of the clan, thinking, Xiaomu, although you have made arrangements, we can't rely entirely on you. Fugaku looked towards the high platform outside. It was a recently built terrace with a lot of space. There is a huge magic circle carved on the ground, and there are a few crows eating next to it. 8 days later, several Uchiha elites guarded a mysterious box and entered the clan's territory. Among the accompanying people, there was also a person wearing a black top hat. Uchiha Fugaku met him immediately. Hello, Fugaku-sama, I am Asho. I'm very sorry, the Miko can't leave the palace, so I have to bring the magic weapon over on her behalf. Ashio is tall and handsome, with black-rimmed glasses on his face. The whole person is kind and gentle, which makes people feel good at first sight. Fugaku nodded, it doesn't matter, I was too abrupt. After all, the journey is long, and it was also my lack of consideration. Then please ask Mr. Asho to introduce this magical weapon to me. Asho opened the box, and there was a Kagura bell placed on top of the purple padding, but when Ashui took it out, the bell did not ring. Fugaku used his Sharingan to sense that there was a powerful power sealed on this Kagura bell, but the sealing technique above is completely different from the sealing technique of the Fire Country. Fugaku has never seen it before either. Asho picked up the Kagura bell and introduced it to Fugaku. This magic weapon has a time-sealing magic circle engraved on it, and Lord Maitreya's spiritual power is injected into it. Inputting chakra can stimulate this spiritual power and form a magic circle. Asho said as he input a small amount of chakra into his hand. The Kagura bell immediately began to light up and float in the air. The bell above rang gently, and a white light mask came out, wrapping Asho and Fugaku in it. The light shield gradually disappeared, but there were a series of runes connected on the ground. Fugaku looked up and down curiously. There seemed to be something in the space, but he couldn't tell what it was. Ashui continued, the time-sealing array can seal the time-space fluctuations in this space, making it impossible to move in space. Fugaku tried to form a seal, psychic art. He slapped his palm on the ground, but there was no reaction. And after this magic circle is opened, you can enter but not get out. People standing inside the magic circle cannot get out of the magic circle. Fugaku stretched out his hand and touched it. There was indeed an invisible layer in the void blocking him. Fugaku nodded with satisfaction. Upon seeing this, Ashui pressed his hand on the magic weapon. The light on the magic weapon gradually dimmed and then fell down. When Ashui took over the magical weapon, the runes and spells around him also faded away. Fugaku asked, how big is this magic circle and how long can it last? Can it be moved? Ashui said, this magic circle can be expanded to a maximum radius of 5 kilometers, but it can only last for 5 minutes, and Lord Maitreya's spiritual power will dissipate. Once the barrier is deployed, it cannot be moved. If there is no spiritual power, is this useless? Fugaku grasped the key point. Asho nodded. 50 million 5 minutes. Fugaku rubbed his chin. Ashuhiro quickly promoted, the time-sealing magic circle is one of the few that can seal the fluctuations of time and space. Currently, only our Lord Maitreya of the demon country can portray it. After the seal is completed, the space will be very stable and will interfere with time and space. Of activation. 50 million is definitely worth the money. Fugaku smiled and didn't say anything. When Xiaomu left, he left behind a plan. If Obito attacks, use reverse necromancy to summon both Itachi and Shisui back. If that doesn't work, you can still summon Natsuki back. But after Fugaku learned that Obito's kaleidoscope switched time and space, he had other ideas. You can only be a thief for 1,000 days, but you can't guard against a thief for 1,000 days. He wants to keep Obito. Well, I'm very satisfied with everything else about this magic weapon. It's just for this time. If it can only last 5 minutes, 50 million. Asho had already discussed this with the Miko-sama when he came. After all, the Uchiha clan is currently in good momentum and cannot be offended. If the Uchiha clan is not satisfied with this magical weapon, the price can be lowered. Asho said, I'm sorry, Mr. Fugaku, the spiritual energy storage of the magic weapon is limited, and it can only be maintained for so long. If you think the price is too expensive. Fugaku interrupted Asho's speech with a wave of his hand. I'll give you 100 million. Please make another trip and bring us another one. Shiro was completely shocked. Chapter 87 Kaito's Recovery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My village, root base, Hinata Kaito was lying on the bed, his limbs were fixed tightly. Master Kaito, I will inject you with anesthesia now. You will then be under general anesthesia and lose consciousness. Then your left leg will be treated. The researcher at the root said according to the procedure. Hinata Kaito took a deep breath, now that the decision had been made. He had already been mentally prepared. Bring it on. As the cold liquid entered Hinata Kaito's body, Hinata Kaito felt his eyelids feel heavy. Hinata Kaito's eyes darkened and he fell asleep completely. From the wall next to him, Z's body slowly emerged. Researcher Northeast by East quickly lowered his head. Sir, Hinata Kaito has been anesthetized. Ju waved his hand. Go down. Yes. The two researchers looked at each other and then both went down. Zetsu walked around Kaito and then fixed his gaze on Hinata Kaito's left leg. A white figure slowly swelled up on Ju's body, then slowly became smaller, and then turned into a small white. Zetsu's hand swiped across it, and a blood stain immediately appeared on Kaito's leg, and the small white dot got in along the gap. Hyuga Kaito's legs had been unable to move for many years, causing the muscles in his legs to degenerate and become pale and slender. After putting the spores in, the spores will rapidly enlarge and multiply. There seemed to be countless earthworms squirming under Hyuga Kaito's legs, and the membranes kept rising ferociously, then falling back down again. Hinata Kaito's whole body began to convulse, trembling constantly, and his mouth made a hee-hee sound unconsciously. After a while, the bulge on Hinata Kaito's left leg slowly disappeared. His left leg expanded at a speed visible to the naked eye, and it was almost like a normal leg. Ju nodded. it should be almost done. He pressed on Hinata Kaito's leg. Don't worry, you will be discovered too soon. Hinata Kaito's legs gradually became thinner. Seeing Hinata Kaito's legs calm down, Zetsu pressed the button next to him. Immediately 2 researchers walked in. It will take about 4 hours for his legs to feel. When he wakes up, he must eat more and supplement his nutrition. Yes, sir. The 2 researchers said nothing more. After Ju finished his instructions, he slowly sank into the earth. The 2 researchers looked at each other, and one of them closed his eyes and quietly made seals in his hand. Buzz, an invisible wave swept out. He nodded. The 2 researchers stood up together. He looked around Hinata Kaito's body and found that there was no knife edge or pinhole at all, but looking at Hinata Kaito's legs, there have been obvious changes. The 2 of them were also a little confused, so they had to plug various research equipment into Hyuga Kaito. Still in Hinata Kaito's body, a tube of blood was taken out for testing. On the left leg, the wound left just now had disappeared. They carefully cut open the skin and removed a piece of tissue. The comatose Hyuga Kaito knew nothing about all this, and the 2 quickly restored the skin and wrapped it in gauze. What they didn't know was that the scar healed quickly under the gauze wrap. All the tissues that could be removed were quickly taken for testing by the 2 of them, and an hour later, Hinata Kaito woke up leisurely. He was already lying in the room, flanked by 2 guards from the Hyuga branch. Sir, you're awake. The guard immediately saw Kaito's awakening. What time is it now? Kaito was a little confused about the time. My lord, it's just been an hour and a half, the guard replied. Kaito frowned slightly. He looked at his left leg and found that the skin on his left leg was a little gray, but Kaito's attention was not here. He was severely injured and had 2 very long scars on his side. Both scars are now gone, and the leg is no longer as shrunken as before. What treatment did they give me? What they did is extremely mysterious. There is a ceiling barrier here, and Bai Yen didn't see anything. We didn't see you until you finished your treatment. Kaito had expected this and didn't say much. The door outside opened and 2 researchers and Danzo walked in. Danzo, when will my legs be able to stand up? Danzo smiled and said, don't worry, you'll have intuition in 3 hours, and you'll be able to stand up in about a month. What you need to do now is eat a lot so your cells have the energy to regenerate. 3 hours. Kaito's eyes flickered. I'm a little hungry too, so I'll go back. If my legs can stand up, I'll arrange your affairs right away. As the effects of the anesthesia wore off, Kaito did feel a surge of hunger. Danzo nodded. Kaito, don't let me down. Kaito looked at Danzo deeply, and then the 2 guards pushed Hyuga Kaito out. Have you found anything? Danzo said lightly. Sir, we extracted blood, body tissue, and skin from Hyuga Kaito's body for testing. Except for the increase in body activity, the data is the same as the previous physical examination. Humph, you loser, Danzo roared angrily, and the 2 researchers fell to their knees in fright. Excuse me, my lord, Danzo glanced at the 2 of them and said with some annoyance, forget it, let's go down. The 2 of them wiped the sweat from their foreheads and went down. Ding, ding. Followed by the sound of chopsticks clashing. On the table in front of Hyuga Kaito, 10 plates were already empty, and the place where the bowls were placed next to them was piled one after another. Hyuga Kaito, who had been educated by the clan, now transformed into a big stomach eater, constantly pouring food into his mouth. The look of devouring food is like the reincarnation of a starving ghost. The 4th pot of rice has been eaten, and the dishes on the table have been changed twice. Kaito never thought that he would be so hungry one day, but after eating some food, he felt even hungrier. So I kept asking the kitchen to add food and cook rice. By now finishing the 4th pot of rice, Kaito finally felt full. None of this is important. What is important is that almost 4 hours have passed since he ate. He gradually felt sensation in his legs. He hadn't experienced the word consciousness in many years. Before, there was only a feeling of coldness and numbness. Even if the knife was scratched, there would be no sensation. Now he can feel the energy and blood in this leg. As he ate, he felt a swelling sensation in his leg. Now that he was full, the peculiar feeling in his left leg disappeared. Then he tremblingly held on to the edge of the table and stood up slowly. His left leg was a little weak, and Kaito almost fell. but he did have an intuition and a sense of being grounded. Kaito felt a little surge in his heart, but he suppressed it. He opened his white eyes and looked at his left leg. The chakra transmission on it was normal. Kaito frowned, wondering what technique Danzo was using. Kaito sat back in his seat and clapped his hands. Two of his guards came in. Call Daisuke and Misaki. Yes. Chapter 88 Clues. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Konoha 8 Streets. Another new day. Since the root members left the guard, Hinata recalled some chunin who were on missions to the family, and Hizashi also returned to the guard. In the current guard force, apart from the small number of Uchiha clan members, only the Hyuga clan is left. Hizashi received a request from the fourth elder today to organize some Hyuga team members and Uchiha to patrol together so that the Hyuga clan can learn how to better maintain law and order. Hizashi originally felt that Hinata's ability to maintain security was worse than that of the Uchiha guards, so he agreed. The relationship between Uchiha and Hinata is already good, and the Uchiha clan security team is also indispensable. Both Hinata, Daisuke and Kaizaki were very proactive and took the initiative to apply to study. Hizashi also incorporated the two of them into the Uchiha patrol team. In addition, Hizashi also recruited 4 members of the Hyuga clan and went to Konoha 8 Streets to study with the Uchiha guards. Among them, there was an acquaintance of Natsuki, Hyuga Yuto. Daisuke, Misaki, and Yuto, you are a team and patrol the 8th Street with your Uchiha colleagues. The 3 Hinata were assigned to a team and started daily patrols with Uchiha. The popularity of the Chinese food on Konoha 8th Street has attracted many villagers to gather here. There are also many people who come to Konoha to entrust tasks, and they also come to the 8th Street to visit and eat the special delicacies here. As a result, this place is very prosperous and crowded with people. The Hyuga team followed the Uchiha team as they walked down the street. In less than an hour, we had already encountered 3 altercations due to crowding. Most of them are from other villages, and the people of Konoha are well aware of how crowded the 8th Street is. Hinata, Daisuke and Kaizaki often open their Byakugan to observe the surrounding situation. At first, Hyuga Yuto thought that the two of them were observing the streets, and in his heart he felt that they were very dedicated, because using the Byakugan to observe requires chakra. Opening the Byakugan so frequently consumes a lot of physical energy and chakra. As a result, Hyuga Yuto noticed that these two people had several arguments in front of them and turned a blind eye. Instead, he looked past the crowd and directly observed Uchiha's shop. Yongren frowned, wondering what the two of them were planning to do. Yanto suppressed the doubts in his heart and patrolled normally. The next day, Daisuke and Kaizaki did not patrol the 8th Street, but went elsewhere. Yongren also forgot about what happened yesterday. 7 days passed before Yugi discovered that Daisuke and Kaizaki had not come to patrol. They will explain something to the tribesmen who are closely related to them. Yanto remembers that those people are either their friends or members of their team. After continuous observation, Yanto discovered that Daisuke and Kaizaki would tell these people to observe with their eyes open. After Yuto took a break from his shift, he went to 8th Street to eat, and found that the 2 team members also often opened their eyes to observe Uchiha's shops. Yongren suddenly felt bad, and when another shift was arranged, he was assigned to the same team as Daisuke. Yongren deliberately led Daisuke to the stinky tofu stall. Yongren said with great interest, "Daiji, yeah, I heard that this stinky tofu smells bad but tastes delicious. Would you like a bowl?" Daisuke felt a little nauseous when he smelled the smell, but since he had the opportunity to steal it, he cooperated and said, "Go ahead and buy it. I'll use my white eyes to see if there's anything going on around me." When Yuto went to buy stinky tofu, he saw from the corner of his eye that Daisuke was indeed scanning the block with his white eyes. But more of its attention is on the stinky tofu making room. Yongren took the stinky tofu and ate it with relish. He pretended to be casual and said, "Why do you think this stinky tofu smells so bad? Is it because of the seasoning?" Daisuke said casually, "The sauce." Then Daisuke Hinata was startled and turned to look at Yuto Hinata. However, he saw that Hinata Yuto didn't take his words to heart. He responded casually and stuffed things into his mouth. Daisuke felt relieved for a while, but fortunately, he had to be more careful next time. At the end of the day's patrol, Hyuga Yuto hid outside the guard building after returning his shift. After a while, Hizashi walked out of the police building. "Hizashi-sama. Hinata Yuto observed that there was no one next to him, quickly showed his figure, and walked towards Hinata Hizashi. Hizashi stopped. He still had an impression of Hyuga Yuto, a young man. When Jiraiya came back before, he was disgraced by Natsuki. This kid also deserves a lot of credit. What's wrong, Yujito? Did you wait for me here specially? Hyuga Yuto nodded, then opened his Byakugan and looked around, and whispered to Hyuga Hizashi, Hizashi-sama, I suspect that there is a traitor in our Hinata. Traitor? Hizashi frowned. Yongren is still very reliable, and he shouldn't make random mistakes. Hizashi stopped Hinata Yuto's words. Follow me. Hizashi walked ahead, and Yuto followed behind. Hizashi walked all the way and entered the branch compound, his own home. Hizashi took Yuto to his study. Everything around here is filled with sealing techniques, you can tell now. Hyuga Yuto deeply admired Hinata Hizashi's caution. He was still too young and wanted to tell Hizashi-sama outside the guard. Then Hyuga Yuto told what he had observed in the past few days, as well as today's test of Hinata Daisuke. Hizashi thought for a moment and took out a roster from the shelf behind him. After looking through it, I found that these people from the Hyuga branch were relatively close to the fourth elder, Hyuga Kaito. Someone is coming. What orders do you have, sir? Hizashi's servant arrived. Hizashi asked, have any outsiders visited the Zong family recently? Hizashi had more on his mind. In the Hyuga clan, it was impossible to betray the clan if they separated. The person who can instruct the division of the family must be a clan with a higher authority level than yourself. The Hyuga clan is relatively closed, so as long as someone visits the Hyuga family, the news will definitely not be hidden. Sir, no one came to visit me. The servant paused and said, but a few days ago, the fourth elder, Lord Kaito, went out for a trip. Hizashi waved his hand and motioned for the servant to get down. It was indeed Hyuga Kaito. Did he do it alone or? Hizashi thought for a moment, then returned to his desk, wrote a letter quickly, and handed it to Yuto Hyuga. He ordered, Yongren, please hand this letter to Chief Fugaku in person immediately. Remember, you have to hand it over to him personally. Hizashi always remembered Uchiha Natsuki's life-saving grace to him, and Hizashi had the same attitude towards Uchiha, but as the head of the clan, Rizu was often under the control of the elders. It's best not to let your brother know about this matter, otherwise it may become very troublesome. Knowing the importance of the matter, Hyuga Yuto took the letter and set off. Chapter 89 Breaking Away from the Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha clan land. Fugaku took out Hizashi's letter and read it. He said to Hyuga Yuto below, thank you for your hard work. Please reply to Hizashi for me and say that I understand. Hyuga Yuto brought Nobu safely and breathed a sigh of relief. He always felt that a huge storm was sweeping across the Uchiha clan and the Hyuga clan, but he is just an ordinary member of the branch family. Being able to do something for Lord Hizashi is the limit. After Hyugato left, Fugaku immediately called out the fourth elder Hinata and handed Hizashi's letter to the elder Hinata. Clan leader, Deputy Clan Natsuki seemed to have anticipated this situation when he left. Yang Ping touched his beard. Fugaku sighed. It's true that nothing can be hidden from Natsuki. He has made relevant plans before. The person in charge of the security team must be Hizashi from the branch family, and if anyone in the Hyuga clan has evil intentions, he will definitely surpass Hizashi. I came here just to ask you, how are you preparing to break away from the plan? Fugaku asked. Elder Yangping nodded. Don't worry, clan leader. After the construction of our clan's land was completed, I was afraid that something unexpected would happen. That street had already been quietly built. How are the transportation vehicles prepared? Chief Hui, last time Yunin paid compensation, I have been supervising the production since our prototype car was made. Now there are 10 cars, and it can completely form a cycle. Fugaku clapped his hands. Okay, without further ado, call all those tribesmen back tonight to implement the escape plan. Obey the clan leader. Konoha 8 streets are as prosperous as ever. Usually the shops here are open until 10 o'clock in the evening, so the night market is also extremely lively. Many people who live nearby are used to going out for something to eat in the evening, but tonight, after these villagers came out, they found that at around 8 o'clock, all Uchiha shops were closed. This made all the villagers feel a little stunned. Why did Uchiha close his shop again? Now there are no root members in the police force. There was a busy scene inside all Uchiha shops. The shop assistants and bosses were busy packing all the equipment and raw materials. After packing them up, put them into the storage scroll. These storage scrolls are all distributed uniformly by the clan. The purpose is to quickly transfer all assets. Many regular customers saw the lights still on inside outside and couldn't help but come to ask why the store closed so early. The Uchiha shopkeepers all answered unanimously that they needed training today to develop new dishes, so they closed early. The store will be open as usual tomorrow. The regular customers all left in disgust. The Uchiha clan was very busy, but the peeping Hyuga clan members were extremely anxious. They watched helplessly as Uchiha packed all the ingredients and equipment. What was he doing? We haven't fully looked back at the production method yet. Daisuke and Kaizaki could only hurriedly report everything they saw to Hinata Kaito. Kaito paced back and forth. Now that his legs are healed, the most enjoyable thing every day is to stand on the ground and walk around, so now he can stand and never sit. Uchiha packed his things. What are you going to do? Don't you want to do such a profitable business? Kaito has no way to intervene. He can only see what Uchiha is going to do. Keep watching and let me know if you find anything new. Daisuke and Kaizaki went back and still secretly observed with their white eyes. At night, all the Uchiha clan members put their packed things into storage scrolls and put them on their bodies. From the outside, it looked like he had left the shop and returned to the Uchiha clan no different than usual. Konoha 8 streets, the first ray of sunshine in the morning shines down. There was a commotion in the police force. All members of the Uchiha guard collectively handed in their resignations, and none of them came. Hizashi still didn't know what Fugaku planned, but it was a fact that no one from the Uchiha Guard Corps came to the Guard Corps. Hizashi could only redistribute the team, fill the vacancies in the Uchiha Guard team, and then assign tasks and start patrolling. Unexpectedly, the Hyuga clan on the 8th Street discovered that when it was time to open stores when they started patrolling, all the shops of the Uchiha clan had their doors closed. When I went to take a look, I found that the place was completely deserted. Whether it was food or equipment, everything had disappeared. The patrol members quickly reported what they saw to Hizashi, who was also puzzled by Fugaku's reaction. Why don't we just open such a profitable store? The news quickly reached the 3rd Hokage. The 3rd Hokage picked up the message and looked at it, and he was completely confused. What do you mean, no money is being made? The 3rd generation quickly sent people to the Uchiha clan to inquire, why don't these Uchiha people open stores anymore? As a result, Uchiha had already sent people out to distribute leaflets on Konoha 8th Street. The 3rd ANBU also came back with a leaflet. The 3rd generation looked up and saw that the food shops of the Uchiha clan in Konoha 8th Street were very scattered. After the clan leader decided to build a snack street, therefore, all Chinese food shops were relocated to a street specially built for them outside the Uchiha clan. Those who want to continue to taste delicious food can go to the north gate of the village, where there is a special pickup vehicle. The 3rd Hokage was caught off guard and quickly asked Kakashi to investigate. The north gate is actually next to the 8th Street, and that side is the old Uchiha place. When the Uchiha moved, all the ground there was renovated with good materials. There were a dozen cars neatly placed there, and they were the same types of sightseeing cars that Xiaomu saw before he left. Each car can seat 25 people. When each car is full, the Uchiha driver injects chakra into the vehicle, and the car drives out quickly. Kakashi got into the car and took a closer look. Aren't the two Uchihas operating the car the same members of the security team who patrolled the 8th Street before? Have you actually planned it already? The speed of the vehicle is very fast, and the journey is completed in a few minutes. Kakashi got out of the car with some curious Konoha villagers. After the vehicles have stopped, they line up next to them. This side is also full of people and they drive back. Or they wait for the incoming car to arrive and then drive back, creating a direct cycle. Kakashi walked inside and found that Uchiha had built an entire street at the junction of the clan and the village. Since this place is close to the Uchiha station, it has not been discovered by anyone in Konoha for such a long time. On the street in front of you, the houses on both sides are all built exactly the same. People with blue stars can recognize them here. These are all model houses. The walls are made of mud and stone piece by piece, neat and beautiful. the houses on both sides extend downward, forming a U-shaped street. The gourmet shops on both sides have hung up their signs and are starting to get busy. When I walked to the door, there was a small booth, and the Uchiha members were selling something. Kakashi took a closer look and realized it was a snack street membership card. Uchiha members said that in order to give back to customers, anyone who applies for this card will receive a 10% discount on all purchases in the entire street. This membership card is also very cost-effective, and it only costs 10 taels to apply for. It's almost like giving it away for free. Kakashi also applied for one. When applying, the Uchiha members looked up at Kakashi and quickly applied for it. The membership card clearly states that it is prohibited to use any ninjutsu in the snack street. Violators will be blacklisted and prohibited from entering. Chapter 90, Leaving Konoha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. North gate of Konoha village. Many villagers are going to 8th Street to eat something, but they discovered that all Uchiha shops have been relocated. After receiving the flyer, driven by curiosity, everyone got on the free sightseeing bus at the North Gate and arrived at the Uchiha Snack Street in a few minutes. Everyone was very surprised because when I was on Konoha 8 streets, after eating something, I had to walk a certain distance before encountering a second restaurant. Now Uchiha has gathered all the restaurants on one street, so that everyone can have a good meal without having to walk back and forth. Jikuku also thoughtfully designed guide signs, clearly marking which snacks are at which locations. The membership card at the door made the villagers exclaim, "What a huge benefit!" The membership card is free for 10 taels, and everything is % off. Everyone quickly got used to coming here to eat. The entire Konoha 8th Street suddenly lost its flow of people, became deserted, and never regained its former prosperity. Hokage building. Danzo, what did you do? The third generation was very angry. Uchiha hadn't gotten the secret recipe for catering, so all the Uchiha merchants moved out of Konoha 8 streets. A snack street opened in the Uchiha area, which caught the third Hokage off guard. I originally thought that they needed to do business on the 8 streets of Konoha, and the village could always find a way to get the secret recipe, but now the Uchiha clan doesn't even want to stay in the village, and at first glance, it seemed that it had been planned, and even the transportation back and forth was prepared. When the clan land was being built before, some people still laughed at the Uchiha for repairing the ground so well. But now I have to say that the people who planned all this were far-sighted. Danzo huddled in his base, feeling very annoyed about this failure. What makes her angry is not that Hinata doesn't do things well, but that the Uchiha clan is so smart. Nowadays, there are guards at the entrance of Uchiha Snack Street. At the beginning, the membership card only provided discounts. After a few days, everyone showed no objection to membership cards, so they just swiped their cards to enter. Don't have a membership card? Sorry, not welcome. After all, this thing is only 10 taels apiece. If you don't buy it, then you must not be going in to eat. If you have a special status, Uchiha will keep an eye on you the whole time. If you do anything inappropriate, you will be expelled immediately. The things Hyuga Kaito handed over were less than 30% of the total, and there were still many incomplete versions, but there is nothing Danzo can do now. The Hyuga family has already obtained the position of honorary elder. Kaito has moved directly into the Zong family's courtyard and simply disappeared from Danzo. Danzo suddenly found himself being tricked by Kaito. The daimyo of the Fire Country sent someone to urge him again. Danzo could only make a copy of what he had on hand and send it to the Fire Country daimyo, and reported the Uchiha clan's rebellion against the village. Originally, Danzo wanted someone from the Hyuga clan to take action. The secret recipe could be copied to 60 to 70%, and once the Fire Country's famous names were promoted, when the famous name stores opened all over the Fire Country, who would care about what your original taste was? You can directly crowd out Uchiha's shop. In order to allow Hinata to take action as soon as possible, the position of honorary elder was given out. Now it's not even 30%. And the finished product won't taste much better in the future. Even if it is promoted, it will not achieve the result of occupying the market. Danzo was at his grandma's fault. The third Hokage is thinking more now, because a few years ago, the fire at the Uchiha restaurant set fire to the entire street of Konoha, but the crowd only recognizes these Chinese delicacies, so once Uchiha moves out, the entire street is almost certain to be depressed. With less income on the streets, he, the Hokage, will definitely have less funds to use. Now is the age of peace. There are relatively few tasks, And the direction of making money has shifted to industry for the third generation. In the past, when Uchiha was doing business in the village, the third generation could collect a certain amount of tax, but as a result, Uchiha didn't even want a store anymore. Now he can only think about getting Uchiha stuck on the task and seeing how Uchiha handles it. Within a period of time, all the Uchiha people who went out to do missions came back, but when I came back, I just handed in the mission and returned to the Uchiha clan, never seen again to pick up the mission. A month later, the mission center directly adjusted the Uchihas division model to outside the village in accordance with the regulations of the third generation Sarutobi Hiruzen, but Uchiha had no reaction to this, and even those Uchiha people who often did tasks no longer appeared in the task hall. In the Uchiha clan at this time, a small hall was renovated. Bang! A burst of smoke rose, and a ninja cat appeared. The ninja cat took out many scrolls from his pocket. After the fourth elder Uchiha Hinata finished the scroll, he gave the other numbered scrolls to the ninja cat. The ninja cat disappeared with a bang. The fourth elder opened one of them, B-level mission to exterminate rebel ninjas. The mission is at the border of the land of fire. Mission reward, 100,000. The next Uchiha raised his hand. Fourth elder, our team wants to receive it. The fourth elder raised his eyes and looked at a few people, then nodded. Okay, you are strong enough, just a few of you. The fourth elder, Yang Ping, quickly gave the mission scroll and relevant information to several people, then flipped through the next scroll. In this way, several scrolls were read and the corresponding people took them. Today's tasks have been distributed. Others will wait for tomorrow. The people in the small hall soon dispersed. The fourth elders Yang Ping and Kwai went to report to Fugaku. Clan leader, now we use the mission system in Otoyakure village, and the efficiency of doing missions is slightly worse than that in Konoha village. What about after they are divided into destinations? Fugaku asked. The fourth elder nodded. After going to the place to share the income of the clan members has actually become higher. Over at Inin village, they have selected some tasks that are suitable for our tribe and sent them over, and the split is also appropriate. The development of the kingdom of Tian is completely different from that of the kingdom of fire. Because the entire country's catering was taken over by Otoyan village, the intelligence system has also been greatly improved. When you come to dine, someone will record everything you say accidentally. The development of Inin village in recent years has also made Inin village richer, and the price of acquiring information from external parties is not low, so their intelligence network is not bad either. In a virtuous cycle, tasks gradually piled up, and it was very appropriate to come up with some that were suitable for the Uchiha clan to do. The fourth elder is also very satisfied with the current situation. The only problem now is that if we leave the village privately, if we are discovered by Anbu, we may be punished. Fugaku chuckled. Now as long as I leave the village unceremoniously, it doesn't matter. Since the third generation is going to increase the mission commission, there are still many things within our clan that need to be done by the clan members. The fourth elder knew what Fugaku meant. Just use clan affairs as a clear excuse. Now after all, Uchiha does not rely on you Konoha. On the contrary, the villagers of Konoha cannot live without our delicious food. How's the revenue from the snack street? Yang Ping took out a statistic. Because we redesigned the street, the number of customers who come to eat here is more intensive than before. We no longer do business in Konoha village. Instead, we are exempted from taxes. Now the overall income has increased by 20% year-on-year. Fugaku picked up the financial report and read it. Xiaomu even had to arrange everything before leaving. The street design, the membership card discount model, and the principle of inertial consumption are all eye-opening for Fugaku. The current Uchiha clan has effectively left Konoha. Not only is he no longer doing business in your village, he is no longer taking on missions in Konoha. In addition to being a ninja in Konoha in name only, Uchiha is now completely independent. Ding. The development mission, leaving Konoha, and becoming independent and self-reliant has been completed. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the complete collection of Konoha ninjutsu. Congratulations to the host for receiving development fund of 50 billion taels. Ding. New mission, become the leader of the Uchiha clan. Natsuki, who landed from the country of Whirlpool, suddenly heard the long-lost system prompt. Natsuki's energy was shaken, and she felt like she was dozing off. She was worried that she couldn't think of a place to learn ninjutsu. Natsuki will then go to see Orochimaru, who is already on his power list. As long as the subordinates over there go and meet them, they will also become people on their own power list. Then you will be able to gain a lot, and you can practice any ninjutsu you want to do. In addition to common ninjutsu, there are also various forbidden techniques in the ninjutsu encyclopedia. The most precious among them is the Flying Thunder God Jutsu. In comparison, Orochimaru has everything like the second-generation Tobirama's Earth Reincarnation and Mutual Detonation Talisman. Moreover, Yutu Tensei is a bit worse than the improved version of Orochimaru. There are many more, including the level of spiritual transformation and darkness, all in it. Recently, Fugaku has used Ninja Crow to communicate the village affairs to Natsuki. Natsuki also received the message, knowing that Hinata's clan elders were involved, and wanted to use his Byakugan to investigate the production methods and secret recipes. Shemu simply had a plan in advance and directly implemented the escape plan. This kind of thing will happen sooner or later, it's just a matter of time. Now that Uchiha is actually out of the control of Konoha village, he has become independent in terms of tasks. From now on, Uchiha can listen to the instructions rather than the propaganda. After the matters in Inin village are finished, we have to go back as soon as possible to take over the position of clan leader.